welcome back, everybody, to...
Sorry. No, I just like the name. Thanks, Hot Mom.
Thanks, Hot Mom. No, I know. Hot Mom gives the premium gas. All right, take number 2. Welcome back to Overdunk, everybody. This is your favorite competitive Pokemon Unite podcast. My name is Zoinks, and welcome to episode 70, where we're going to do math for about 60 minutes. That's right. I already fit a number in. 2 numbers, in fact. I am joined by a few different guests. I got WonderChef, SneakySeal, and Laz on the show to talk all crazy things in the competitive Unite community. A lot of action happening, literally regional qualifiers this weekend. Regionals around the corner. We're going to have qualify everybody from around the globe except for North America, which we'll be waiting a couple of weeks for the regional tournament. We're going to talk about the infinite possibilities that may provide. And we're going to talk about, of course, the May Finals tournament that just happened. Crazy Cinderella run from Team YouTube. A lot to break down. I can't wait. But first, I got to ask my guest, SneakySeal, how have you been? It's been a long time since we got you on the show.
Yeah, some of you know him, even less of you love him. It's me. I'm here. It's actually been a hot minute. I can't remember. Did we start? I think I joined in like February, maybe.
I think like the start of the season.
Discussions.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been busy IRL, but I've been doing at least enough time off of work to do finals of each month.
Cool.
To make sure we don't miss games, and that's really it.
Yeah, the NFL red zone of Unite is the SneakySeal stream.
We came up with a non-copyrighted term. We're calling it the final stretch.
The final stretch. Okay, yes, I like that a lot. It is already a Unite podcast name, but that's okay. Well, if it's a stream of podcasts, they're different. It's fine. I like it. I myself tune in as much as I possibly can. So, and I feel like every single tournament on this podcast, I give a shout out to you to go watch your stream to watch the other games. So, I feel like we're already doing the seal work. Anyways, Laz, welcome back to the show. You're always here, an old favorite, but how was your week as well?
I was all right. Wasn't super happy with the results on Saturday, but then after thinking about it for a minute and preparing for this podcast, I realized it didn't fucking matter. First was the same as third.
All right. Well, I mean, shake it off, but you still got to perform. You want to win some cash in the next tournament, right? I don't know if you get paid for that.
Yes, of course.
But your teammates will. Okay. Well, your teammates will. WonderChef, welcome to the show. Is this your first appearance, or have you been on the show before?
This is my first appearance,
hey!
but I didn't know this was going to be about math, so I'm going to head out. So I'll see you later.
Okay, great. Yeah, first and only appearance. That makes sense. Welcome, WonderChef. WonderChef, it's your first time on the show for Overdunk, so anybody who's been living under a rock, please introduce yourself to the people listening live and, of course, in podcast land.
All right. Well, hello. I'm WonderChef, and for some reason, I've been able to cast some of the UCS stuff this season. I'm super pumped about it, but I come from like Pokken, the fighting game for Pokemon. I come from a bunch of different fighting games and other stuff, but I'm here now, and I've been digging this season so much.
Awesome. Yeah, we got to cast kind of near each other at the World Championships, but then very near each other for AOS Cup and, of course, the May Finals that just happened, which is a ton of fun. So thank you, everyone that tuned in to watch the cast on the official stream as well. I got to thank the people who tuned in the official stream, contractually obliged. I'm sorry, SneakySeal. I got to make sure
I try to send them over there.
No, of course. What is it? Twitch counts viewership on like 3 tabs. Is that what it is? I think. Ooh. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like you can have up to 3 tabs open before it stops counting you as a viewer, I believe. So.
By the way, WonderChef, World's Pokken, we were like watching Unite, and then there was 3 of us, me and Vizid and Bulby would like look over to Pokken, and it would be like some insane Mewtwo going up into space. Like it's got to be amazing to cast like Mewtwo flying into space and then nuking somebody. It seems. I'm R.I.P. man.
The referee sure loved it.
It's still around. It's just
it's like it's still there. I miss him every day.
Oh man, we can't be forget too much. I do absolutely echo Sneaky sentiments. Not about crapping up Pokemon, but definitely that I do really enjoy the game. I thought that game was so much fun. But WonderChef, you cast a ton of other stuff too. I've been watching your Gundam streams as well. Those casts have been awesome. That's a really fun scene. So you've been in the casting profession for quite a while, have you not? Like, what year are you at?
Yeah, I don't even know what year I'm at. Probably. I mean, it's something like year 8. So we're
sick.
We're year 8 professionally, and then longer than that grassroots and continuing to do grassroots stuff, of course. So yeah, it's been a long time. I'm old. We don't need to talk about how old I am.
Sure.
I mentioned I don't even remember what happened in May finals. I'm already past that point.
Fair enough. Well, we left that in the past, but we are going to talk about it again. So May finals did happen, of course, in the broadcast. We are covering EU and North America. I'm going to pull up the bracket on stream for the EU bracket, which we'll talk about first. So EU definitely gets a lot of shade thrown at it for the entertainment factor that EU can provide, mostly just because we kind of got the storyline between Nouns and Tally Bobo every single month. However, I think the game's absolutely delivered. EU was a ton of fun to watch and cast over. I thought the Nouns Tally Bobo Grands we had was one of the best matchups we've had between those two teams. I thought it was a absolutely crazy game, a lot of fun. Giga Chad making top 4, pretty sweet. Always fun to see them squeaking into the top of the tournaments. But Chef, any thoughts on the May Finals EU region?
Yeah, I mean, okay, definitely earlier in the season, watching some of the grand finals and some of the winners finals, it was like, okay, yeah, we get it. Tally Bobo was really good, but I feel like now we really get to see like Nouns step up, and we get to see just a lot of games of really high level, like just unite in general. So that's really fun to see, and I'm glad that at least Nouns got to show off that they're like not. It's not like okay, we can just win once and then back to exactly what was happening. Like it was close. It was close.
Oh, absolutely. SneakySeal, were you able to catch any of EU, or are you too busy prepping for NA that day?
I think especially when we get to finals, which is all that matters, right? I'm joking. No, but you're the one who started that. But
True.
No, I did not.
Spoiler,
But I think
the actually only impactful match that day was round 2 of the losers bracket.
for points.
Yes.
Wow.
Which one was that? Was Time to Shine versus Giga Chad?
It was Time to Shine versus Gigatrad and Wolf Wolf versus Dilton. Both of those matches mattered.
Oh, okay, interesting.
There really like Nouns getting first and then winning first in regionals wouldn't like put them above and be like a number 1.
No,
seed.
because first in regionals is the same as first in points. It literally doesn't matter.
Oh, they're all going to be 1 seeds. It doesn't matter. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to catch much of it, but it's cool. You guys said that this 60s pickup is making it like a little more, or like closer rather than. What do you guys think?
Oh, for sure. I mean, close enough that they literally won against them last tournament, right? Like it was.
For sure.
We mentioned this a bunch on broadcast because it was a really fun narrative to talk about. But going into winners finals, Nouns and Tally Bobo in map score were 12 and 12. So extremely close between the teams. Just Tally Bobo's winning the more important matches between the two. But at the end of this, I think Tally Bobo now, I guess, leads by 2 maps, right? If I'm doing my math correctly, which is kind of insane. Yes. So it was, it's a really cool storyline between these two teams. It's a lot of fun. I mean, Nouns is playing really, really good Unite right now. Like, crazy good. Some of those games could have went either direction. But, yeah, I do think the storyline is still Tally Bobo versus Nouns are the two titans. Anybody else who's stepping up just doesn't really seem like they're coming too close yet. Regionals can definitely shake things up, but it's not in person. I'm looking for big shakeups for the Lanimals to appear in North America, but we'll have to see. I
think Toon's been in a hyperbolic time chamber. The second Cram's unleashed, it's over for him.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's, yeah. I mean, write it off. Worlds is over. Go home. Also, shout out to some people in Toon's community. They listened to the episode we had last week. And Laz, I don't know if you remember last week, we talked about, like, the Toon signal. And Newt being like the Batman of EU, like they called him back, and they've had multiple pieces of fan art created in their community, and it looks so cool. So go to the Unite Mike's Twitter if you want to go check those out. Really sweet. It's basically just a Psyduck overlooking some cityscapes with one having a Rayquaza in the background. They're so cool. So check them out for sure. Yeah, on the Unite Mike's Twitter, we'll definitely retweet those, but they're really, really cool. And I'm going to count it as our fan art. I know it's for Toon, but it's kind of Overdunk themed, so I'm going to take it. So thank you very much for the fan art. If anybody else wants to do fan art, feel free. I don't know what you do it on. Maybe we'll try to be more iconic. But Lazadin, any thoughts on the European region that you watch? I mean, you just mentioned only 2 games matter. Do you want to explain a little bit about what you mean towards the podcast listeners?
Yes. So when I'm talking about the context of mattered for, and I'll have a couple of things to say about this, basically the same NA. I'm talking about for overall points, right?
Okay.
Because May Cup doesn't have any money award, right? None of the regional finals or monthly finals do, and this is the last month before regional finals. So at this point, like all points are basically calculable, and essentially, like once you get to a certain point of the tournament, obviously, like as the player, you're not going to realize this, but like as an outside observer, you can kind of realize, oh, the result of this match doesn't change anything. Cool. Well, Pokemon Unite. And then you still enjoy it anyway, but like it does have a negative impact for those of us that like pay really close attention.
Sure.
But regardless, so basically these two matches that are zoomed in right here are the only two that mattered. Woof Woof versus Tilted and Time to Shine versus Giga Chad.
Mm-hmm.
They did three things. One, both Time to Shine and Tilted were essentially tied on points before this tournament.
Interesting. Really? Wow. Tilted kind
because
of
they got 5th and 6th.
Right.
They're now still tied up. They're now still basically tied on points.
Okay, good.
And because they got 5th and 6th, there is now technically a world where Giga Chad can qualify.
Yes, Giga Chad. Now, maybe not in charge of their own destiny, but a world has opened up in which they can perform in some way. That's cool. Okay. What does? All right, fine. I'll bite. What is the universe that Giga Chad can qualify in then?
Okay, so Giga Chad can qualify if two things happen.
Okay.
One, they get like second. Or obviously, if they get first, like any team could qualify if they get first.
Yes,
that is just
let's put
how
that
the format works.
Okay, let me explain for if anybody is lost in what we're talking about. Regional finals are how the Unite Championship Series will qualify teams for the World Championship Series in every single region. There are 2 paid travel awards for every single region has either 1 or 2 paid travel award. In North America and EU, which we're talking about mostly, have 4 invites to Worlds, 2 of which get paid travel rewards. The 2 travel awards go to the team that wins the regional tournament and the team with the most championship points out of the entire region. If the team with the most CP wins regionals, they are removed from the CP conversation, meaning that the second highest team with the most championship points earns the travel reward. So that is how it works. We've talked about it on the show before, but just in case anybody is lost in the sauce on this conversation, that is my briefing for that one. So, sorry to jump in there, but go ahead and continue.
Yep. So basically, Time to Shine is at 3,392 points, assuming the roster changes, and Tilted is at 3,270. Tilted has never had a roster change this entire year. I like Time to Shine. But if both Time to Shine and Tilted do not qualify for top 8, and Giga Chad gets second, they make it to Worlds.
There we go. And in like 4th or 3rd spot, right? That's where they would finish?
That would be in 4th spot. Yep.
Okay, so Time to Shine and Tilted lose in groups, and Giga Chad gets, you said, second?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
and then they qualify as the 4th seed from Europe.
All right, Giga Chad, let's go. I don't even know who's on that roster anymore. Young Leon said they're playing again because esports retirements are a joke. So I'm excited to see who shows up to play. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so that's just one of our many possible scenarios. So seeding wise, is Time to Shine still ranked 4th place, or are they now ranked 5th?
They are ranked 4th place at exactly 122 points above Tilted.
Okay, got you. I'm assuming Zephyr is out of the running. They need to spike regionals to qualify, right?
They need to, yes. Zephyr needs to just get first.
Okay, got you. Nice. Interesting. We're getting into the number conversation around Europe. I know most of our math was done around North America because things have been a little more mixy there. In Europe, Woof Woof, is there any world where they overtake Nouns in championship points for the second spot? No? Okay.
They are 2,000 points behind Nouns.
They are 2,000 points below? Okay.
Yeah. Like, they're over 2,000 points behind Nouns. They could get first, and Nouns would have to get 13th.
Right. That's literally the only way for them to get overtaken. Okay, wow. All right, so shout out Nouns and Tally Bobo. I mean, we talked about how they have an iron grip on the region. it's it's legible in numbers. You can see it. It's printed right there. Okay, interesting. Well, I mean, regionals is going to be exciting for a multitude of reasons, but I think seeing who gets those 3rd and 4th seed spots is going to be really interesting. How likely is it that a team can overtake Time to Shine other than Tilted for that 4th spot? How close are like the 5th through 8th teams?
Giga Chad is the 6th seed, and I already explained how.
Okay, so that's how far the gap is between 5 and 6. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Jeez. All right. It's a tough world.
Provided there's not like, obviously the big asterisk here is it's regionals. Some of the players that stop playing earlier in the year that may or may not have a bunch of points can put together a stack. So there's a world where there's another 6 seed team.
Sure. But we haven't seen that world yet. Okay. Yes. All right, let's pivot the conversation for a sec before we move regions towards the qualification process. Because we were talking off broadcast, Sneaky. You were saying you had a lot of problems with this process this year round. However, compared to last year, championship points matter now. In fact, they are biblical canon in terms of like teams actually getting qualified. They are the most important thing in the world now. So a huge pivot the other direction, which I know has left maybe not a lot of players frustrated. I mean, probably the 8th through 5th teams are probably pretty frustrated about it. I'm sure the top half of the teams are pumped about it. But I mean, it's definitely more of a pivotal force there, but there's a lot of pros and cons either direction, I think. But I just want to hear all of our opinions on it. We've talked about this so much on the podcast before, but I think now that we are actually seeing the results of this format, it's fair to have a conversation about it. I think we have as much information as we can until Worlds happen. So let's talk about it right now. SneakySeal, I know you were shouting some frustrations about it. Talk to me. How are you feeling about this format?
It's not that bad. It's great. I think the players who deserve to go, especially like in an A and U, are going to go like guaranteed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did so good all year. You just have a lot of people who aren't even gonna try because it's so. If the only scenario is you get 1st place at this one tournament, you have to go through some like really big, juggernaut teams that have already been there,
right?
And so I would have liked to have that 2nd spot for the 2nd seed, right? Because honestly, it's gonna be, it's just like because looking at the people who've won ASU, TTV, and LG are gonna probably either win that tournament and also like win in points. You know what I mean? If you win the whole tournament, a lot of people are gonna be doing both, which is maybe not what you want from both things, but I think it's great though. But I'm upset that people might not even be competing in the final tournament of the year, meaning it's going to be even less competitive, especially with like a round robin of 24 teams, right?
Yeah. Have we? Okay, I know
16.
That's the fear. It's 16 teams for round robin. Yeah, I know that's the fear. Have we seen that? Like, are there a lot of teams not signing up for regionals because of that?
I mean, we can't prove that yet. We like it'll take a few days to prove that.
I guess I'm asking you two, Sneaky and Laz, because you're way more tapped into like the top level player community than I am. Like I have some context, but it's tough for me to get a general vibe all the time. Like, are a lot of people like, meh, I don't really want to play it, or is the money carrot enough to play in regionals?
I'd say the official one we have is like Peak Diff just leaving to be a coach instead, right?
Sure.
And not even trying.
Yeah, that's a big one. You're right.
And then the rest of Spinal, I guess we don't have I don't have official confirmation for any of them, but if they're
neither do I.
Yeah, looking for different teams. It just kind of stinks because Spinal would top 8 multiple times.
Right.
Had players like OG who went to Worlds last year, so I don't know what OG's gonna do. We'll see.
That'll be interesting. I'm sure we'll have a few like sub situations for Worlds.
From my perspective, like I've mostly seen people either talking about like, yeah, we might as well do it. Why not? Like it's the last turn of the year. Who cares? Or like, or they're like, we're not even going to get top 8. Like, what's the point? Like, we'll just take a break and get ready for next year or whatever. Just enjoy the show or whatever. Right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
There's a very mixed sentiment about it, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little rough. And like, I would say if you're not, well, here's the thing, right? Yes, it is pointless if you're below a certain amount of points, right?
Mm-hmm.
However,
point list
argue
for the world's qualification route.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
so
again,
here's the point.
I'm going to say it till I did. Money.
Yeah. No. I was about to
Yes.
make the same point. It is always like, here's the thing, right? If you're not already a top team, it is already like always quote unquote pointless to participate in a tournament, right?
Sure.
Because if you're not finishing above certain points, you're never getting anything out of it. The point shouldn't be to get something out of it. The point should be like it's for fun.
Right.
Like the only people that it really, really hurts are the people between like 5th and 12th.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are the people that like really suffer from the current point system. And I'll just be real with you. I don't think that YouTube deserved to get 300 points. I think they deserve to get more than 300 points. I think that the February finals being worth the same as the May finals is kind of silly.
Interesting. Okay, we'll discuss that later. But we'll talk more about that. Okay.
But you got this interesting spot from like 4 to 7, where this is like the most important tournament of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You've got between 2 and 3, where it's also kind of the most important tournament of the year, but only because of the travel award.
Yes.
Like, that's the only reason us or TTV have to care,
Right.
other than the money.
Yes,
like the actual money from winning.
Yeah. Now I'm tired of hearing it. Okay, I know how I see how I sound. Okay.
Hey, and that travel stipend is pretty good.
It's a good travel stipend for sure.
Travel stipend.
And
That's an
ASU
expensive plane
just
ticket.
can get 4th and then fuck off, and they would always get travel stipend. I think I'd have to double check that math.
Yeah, it's 4th.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. Okay, WonderChef, we haven't got your thoughts on the CP discussion overall for year number 2. I know you followed Unite in year number 1, but you weren't obviously working it caster-wise. But still, the difference between 1 and 2 has been pretty different. What are your thoughts on the CP qualification process for year number 2?
Well, I mean, the first thing I want to mention is that, like, it's so difficult to run any sort of league with championship points. Like, figuring out the exact perfect balance to like hit the exact number of teams that are going to enter with the exact number of like events. It's tough. I know. I mean, and I love the fact that they're at least like, they've changed things up. I definitely, like you mentioned, I watched a lot of season 1 and I saw a lot of players that were just so heartbroken over, not winning the win exactly it mattered. So I do appreciate the fact that now there's a little bit more leeway for stuff. But I mean, there's a bunch of different things that I'd like to see them try in the future. Not to say these are like the right things to try, but I've seen in leagues like, for example, like maybe like first of all, maybe doing like less points for certain events. Like, for example, AOS Cup was just a ton of points, just an unbelievable amount of points, and I think it helped build like some teams up to be kind of insurmountable. Even obviously some teams kind of should be insurmountable, but maybe not quite as far down. There's some events or like leagues where I've seen where you only take like, let's say like the top, I'm just using a random number, 5 events or 4 events that you entered, and your best 4 scoring add up to the points.
A best finish score would be really interesting headed into regionals. Yeah, that's a good point. That's how that's how Trading Card Game and Video Game do their championship points when it comes to worlds. They have a pretty complicated process, but you need to hit a certain amount of points for your world's qualification. But once you have that, to determine whether you get your day 2 invite or to determine leaderboards, so who gets travel rewards to go to events, it's a best finish format. Did Pokken work the same way? Or was it a different circuit? Oh, yeah, okay.
We had all chaos. We actually had like basically like UCS season 1 vibes where we had the international championships and you had to win there to qualify. Otherwise, you just didn't qualify. There was an LCQ, but there was like 4 events that qualified for everything for Worlds. So it was wild.
Okay.
But yeah, basically the whole point of it is that like, yes, I like that they've changed things. They've listened to people. It's like a step forward, right? For whatever, I mean, hopefully season 3 brings, like hopefully it's continuing to like get better. But overall, I mean, it's interesting. It's really interesting to see so many teams that are so far down and still kind of like almost guaranteed. That's pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, that is really true. All that to say, we'll probably be talking even more about this stuff going forward. Just a couple of things I want to say. I've had some discussions with like people from Pokemon about the difference between season 1 and 2 in championship points. I want to say what I think is a good sentiment to everybody is that they are so willing to be flexible and change things. They showed that from season 1 to season 2, and they are always looking for feedback going into season 3 because they want this competitive format to last. They want it to be something that players and fans are interested in. Unite is seriously one of the first forays Pokemon is having into, we want to create a product that is also interesting for fans. which they've never done before. Like, VGC is like, we are going to put on an event to market our video game, right? Like, that is what is happening. It's a tournament. We're going to provide a competitive structure for players. Same with the card game. But for Unite, they're like, well, it's like the top teams in this big showcased event and everything. So it is different. Just know that that is a possibility. And players, I guarantee there will be feedback surveys after regionals. Shoot all of your ideas over. Please participate in those kinds of things. Even if you're like, screw these developers, I'm done with this stupid game. Do Zoinks one last favor and fill out that survey, please, before you move along into the sunset. That's all I want.
I have a minor correction to a statement I just made. Technically, ASU does have to get third if either us or TTV gets first or the other one gets second.
Oh, that's a very important caveat, actually. Okay, interesting. Okay, well, that's actually a great pivot, though. Let's talk about North America, right? Let's jump back into May finals. We're gonna talk about announcement. Tomorrow night at 11:30 Eastern, because they're degenerates. I'm gonna be talking to Team YouTube on this channel, doing an interview with them. So I'm sure they have scrims and stuff like that they need to try to move around to make this interview happen. So thank you to them. But I'm gonna be interviewing Team YouTube on this channel, so very excited about that. Check them out. But obviously, they had a crazy tournament where they went and won the entire thing. So let's talk about the May finals here for North America. We had a GT Team YouTube, both winners finals and grand finals. Obviously, this was crazy, especially from, it's PM. Obviously, from our broadcast side, we were like, what is happening in NA? While EU was going on, we're like seeing all these tweets and texts and everything. It was absolutely crazy. SneakySeal, you were broadcasting these games.
I was.
Give me the TSN top 10. Give me the highlights of what happened in NA before broadcast.
I wanted to discuss this going into it. Like, we've had some not boring, but people, all the good teams are winning, and there's no upsets. And then I was like, let's have some upsets. Oh my goodness, we got so many. Everyone got upset. Is there anybody on the screen who won as the higher seed after I don't think so.
No,
anyway,
I don't think so.
They definitely just the higher seed. It was really fun. YouTube went on a complete tear. Look at that gauntlet, by the way. TTV, Luminosity. They played GT. They lost. They had to beat Luminosity again
Twice, yeah.
And they beat GT twice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's got to be. It's got to be one of the hardest runs of any tournament in the last 2 years, for Pokemon Unite.
Absolutely. Like, the only harder thing is, if you throw in Amaterasu, right? As, one of the matchups.
Yeah, for sure.
You fill in. Otherwise, they have their, trifecta before that. It's a crazy run.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to Chaotic for, I think he's got the lowest placing and highest placing gap of any player in
shout out to Chaotic. Didn't feel like a shout out, but
128th and first. It's actually crazy, man.
That is crazy.
In one season, I can't believe it.
You're a monster. All right, cool. NA is wild. I love to hear it. Last, Luminosity, you said you were bummed by the performance, but then again, didn't really matter championship points wise. But you were able to take down Rogue and Ignorance and TTV this tournament. You did go down to YouTube though. Overall, what were the teams kind of vibes headed into May finals? I know it's kind of a weird tournament right before regionals, where everybody super focused in and things just didn't work out on the day, or was this a bit of a break?
I'd be lying if I said everybody was feeling the best that day.
Okay.
Let's just put it that way.
Sure.
I'd been mostly distracted by trying to plan for Pride events and stuff. A couple of people were sick, that kind of thing, right? I'm not gonna sit here and make excuses for fucking 30 minutes. Sure. My excuse will be when we smash them 2-0 next time.
Yeah, that's the WWE kind of interview content I'm looking for on this podcast. Yeah. I like it. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was. I mean, top 3 is still top 3, right? It's a good placement. It makes you move along in championship.
The only thing that mattered was us finishing above the TV.
Yep, and you did, and that's important. You showed up to the game that was important. I love it. WonderChef, North America, we got to cast one game. We're breaking down a lot of them. How did you feel about this region? I mean, yeah, talk to me. Any thoughts on NA?
Oh my gosh, I have so many thoughts on NA. I mean, and nobody else got to see except for you, obviously. But I was sitting there as we were watching the end of EU, just spamming Zoinks messages on Discord, like, "Oh my God, we could see GT versus YouTube in winners finals." I'm like, what would be the odds of that? And yeah, there was just tons of spam messages. I was watching SneakySeal's stream actually for it all, so shout out to that as well. Shout out to everybody who streams the community stuff. But man, it was crazy. I honestly don't even there's too much to talk about at this point. I mean, obviously YouTube was wild. They were so good, despite the fact, whether it was a good tournament for other teams or not, it just seemed like something clicked, right? They were just gelling with weird picks and just, I don't know, it was just the confidence. There were so many 2-1s. You love to see that. That is really rare in any bracket for any game, but especially for
this many 2-1s.
Yeah, this is huge. I don't know. It's just an amazing tournament. I don't know. There's too much I could say. I would last the entire hour.
No, I completely agree with you. It was one of the most exciting monthly finals. I think from a lot of people's perspectives, it was the most exciting monthly finals out of all of the tournaments that we've had this entire year. I'm a huge fan of Ultra Team YouTube.
The chat is talking about a tournament that didn't exist.
Yeah, that's what I'm just roasting them for right now. They said Team YouTube won the April finals last year with Dave, and I was like, that's not a real tournament. It didn't.
Yeah,
there was no April finals last year.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't be mean to our chatters. I'm never having you on the show anymore.
Hey, Celestial's also being mean to them, okay?
Yeah, but he's not on the show. It's okay. Plus, I called Celestial a god gamer. Why are you?
I'm laughing because you're banning me from the show. I'm not bullying this person.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, yes, I think North America was absolutely hype. We're going to talk a lot more about YouTube's run tomorrow on the podcast when we interview them. If you're watching Team YouTube, no, I don't hate you. I don't know what Spraggles is talking about in the chat. Absolute heresy being spouted. So, anyways, let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this part of the episode. Now, that is the North America number crunching for CP. So, I have the top 11 seeds on. I'll bring it up on screen. So thank you very much for getting this together, Laz and SneakySeal.
There's technically a 12th one.
Subject to change.
Subject to change. Roster changes move around for sure.
These numbers are all based on some rumors that I confirmed via Unite API based on rosters being played in scrims and on ladder. So these points may or may not align with what actually happens on the day. Spinal especially seems a little unstable. But the rest of them I'm pretty confident on.
I'll do this.
God Squad with the Mike Wazowski. I made the cover. They're covered by the Overdunk.
They're not that far behind Spinal after the changes. That is true.
I'm saying you're covered up by the Overdunk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, I moved him. They're over to the left now. Listen, I could just do this, right? Okay, there we go. That's also an option. No overlay. We're gone. All right. ASU firmly at the top. We already talked about kind of their probability. If LG or TTV gets first, then Amaterasu has to get fourth, you said, right? To get
no, it was third. It was third.
Has to get third to hold on to their number one CP spot, which is absolutely a possibility. So Amaterasu playing for third at the lowest if they want to hold on to that travel reward. First in the best case scenario. That makes a lot of sense. Any other fun infinite possibilities we have discovered out of these numbers?
Okay. So obviously the 2-3 is literally whoever finishes higher if ASU wins gets the travel award because we're within 18 points. That does not take a master just.
Oh, that's so cool.
Wait, why are you saying it's third? It's fourth. You're losing me already. If they get third, they get 1,600 points, and if they get fourth, they get 1,280, and 1,280, no one can catch up to them.
No, if they get third, they get 1,600 points. Yeah.
Oh, could somebody pass them with second with extra 2K?
Yeah.
Look at
LG gets to.
Yeah, 1,280 is more than they need fourth. Sorry, it's 1,280 plus 6515 is like is 77.95, and if anyone gets second place is an extra 2,000, and if anyone gets extra 2,000, LGT,
Oh, no,
none of them
you're
passed
right.
7,800.
You are
Yeah.
correct. I
Okay.
had an error.
No,
So yeah, so they actually do just need to play for fourth. Like if you guys, so like ASU, if you get fourth, you can just FF. You do
Yeah,
not have
just
to play your third
help.
place match. It
Yeah.
actually does not matter. You can do
Sure.
whatever the fuck you want.
That is correct. Reminder: every game from that point, you're basically doubling your cash prize. But yes, you are right. That is an option. Okay, on this list, talk to me about Team YouTube, because obviously we got some people who are really cheering for Team YouTube in our chat. What is the world in which Team YouTube qualifies for the Pokemon Unite World Championships in Yokohama, Japan?
Sneaky, would you like to take this one away, or would you like? Me
Yeah. So this one, depending on where they're at, would mostly require them to get second, obviously, besides getting first. First, obviously, everyone we talk about first place, you go. Best case scenario is second place for them, and GT getting about fifth or sixth or less, because they need to have looking at the difference, which is 640. They need to find some points on the scale to of the how much rewards
if
per player, which is about that gap.
If YouTube finishes second, then GT has to finish fifth, or GT has to finish fourth in order for them to
to go to
over
YouTube. Yep, because 700 it'd be
because fourth is 144 points per player. So yeah, if GT gets fourth and YouTube gets second. No, I'm looking at.
This is riveting.
Two,
I'm so happy we're doing this episode.
Okay. And actually, if GT gets it's 256 for fourth, right?
Yes, and second place is 400. So the difference is 144.
Yes,
and that would be 720 points. So GT would still be above YouTube.
Yes.
Okay. So
if
GT has
YouTube
to get
gets
fifth.
second, then GT has to get fifth.
Okay.
In order for YouTube to make it to Worlds. If
Yeah,
YouTube gets
we're good. Everyone's good.
third, then GT has to get a whopping seventh, I believe.
Oh wow. Okay.
And if YouTube gets fourth, GT has to finish 13th or below.
Okay, got it. All right, so obviously it gets harder and harder outside of that top four, but it has to be a top four finish, and I mean, higher placement makes it a little bit tougher for GT's angle into that spot. We talked about this in the EU region. Is there any world that GT can overtake LG and TTV for Travel Award?
No.
Okay, got it. All right, WonderChef, any storylines you want dissected by the two nerds that we have on the podcast today?
Oh, well, no, there's one world.
No, so ASU could get first.
Okay,
what happens if ASU gets first at regionals? What do they take?
So if ASU gets first, they get Travel Award.
But which one?
The first place winning award.
Okay, and then
and then LG would get the CPU award if no CP changes here.
But technically, LG and TTV could get 0 points, and then GT could get second, and then win the Travel Award. But that's
technically speaking, if both TTV and LG get 13th and GT gets second, then GT can get Travel Award. There is the one world.
Okay, the
one universe.
Okay, I like how you said no so quickly, because you're like, nah, not happening.
No, I don't even think 13 is enough. 13 is an extra
500 points.
And then
GT's at 40.
Oh, you'd be 6 points behind. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's funny. That's really unfortunate. That's just like one player switch. Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah, I mean, player switches is a whole nother conversation.
That's like.
All right, yeah, but WonderChef, I already asked you, is there any teams on this list that you were interested in the math for it to happen?
Yeah, just to be 100% sure. So let's just say that GT really doesn't qualify, gets no points in regionals. Not that I would hope that would happen. They definitely
so they don't make top 16.
Right. Okay. Let's just say in a theoretical world there, how far would YouTube have to get to bypass them?
They would have to get a total of a little over 600 points, 641 points to be exact. So it'd be ninth?
Minimum of ninth, yeah.
Okay,
So that's
They
not
wouldn't
even
need to
that's
make
not
8.
even top 8. That's just you could technically
Yeah,
do okay in groups. And
But if they get ninth, there's a very high chance that like Rogue or Ignorance.
Rogue or
passes
Ignorance overtakes them. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no,
Interesting.
even low placings give you points. Like 97 through 128 gives you 20 points.
them.
Oh my word. That's so
Yeah, you
true.
it's really tough. Like, so even
Yeah.
if GT, let's just say GT gets the worst possible placing, an extra 100 points, then YouTube would have to get 7th or 8th
Okay.
to pass
Yeah.
them,
Okay.
which is, and I think it might even be 5th or 6th. It's still like it's very hard for them to do it, but it's certainly possible
Got it.
if they do really well. Another bracket run where they beat some players
YouTube's
get
best
second.
chance is hoping that whatever. So statistically speaking, YouTube and GT are probably going to end up in the same group.
Yeah, that's true.
So YouTube's best chance of qualifying for Worlds is if whatever random ass stack they get as the 3rd and 4th seeds in the group happen to be like good enough to either flip on GT or GT just doesn't show up on the day or whatever, and GT gets eliminated in groups. That's YouTube's best chance.
Interesting. And obviously they have to beat GT in groups. Like that also would
Yeah,
happen.
and to be fair, GT not well known for their group's performance from AOS.
Hey, come on.
They almost got
Like-
kicked out in regional finals last year too. Versus what was the
Yes, they
Very
their
close.
group stage is known as their shakiest performances. I would say.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
there was they have historically had a lot of struggles in group stages.
All right.
Mhm.
One
Stalking stiff,
last
though.
team. Stalking stiff. One last team that I want to talk
Actual
about.
mind control.
That we haven't talked about at all is the team that I historically have predicted to make it into groups every time,
TOS?
and that's
baby.
Team TOS to the moon.
Well, you actually, I was joking.
Yeah, no, I'm on that Team TOS. Give me the miracle math that TOS needs to get 4th place. in
First place,
CC.
baby. First place.
I'm
There's
pretty sure
literally no
it's
other
just first
chance.
place.
All right, it's
Yeah.
first place or die. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sounds
So
good.
they would
TOS
need
take over. Let's go.
2,200
Or
points.
unironically, they could poach somebody. Like they'd have to poach
Oh,
points.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
certainly
They could
possible.
poach points. That is technically possible. Yes.
Do we
But that
wanna
needs
help-
to
we can help them out.
happen in what, 4 days?
Hey, this,
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs to happen before
Yeah.
qualifiers. so-
Unite players are used to roster swaps right before the tournament all the time. Your teammates don't wake up. Oh man, grab this guy.
Bucks going to Worlds, fellas. Time to snake.
You know, honestly, I was going to talk about that. Like, I'm surprised we haven't seen some huge roster switch arounds because that's something that's super common in a
Well-
lot of games. No. I mean, I'm talking about like purely for the sake of qualifying for Worlds. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
Like,
think they've announced them yet, but I'm sure people are talking behind the scenes. But we'll see. I don't know because I could go through and look at like, well,
So
people who
obviously,
aren't
none of the
canceled
top
on
3 are
Twitter.
going to switch anything.
Yeah,
Right.
Um,
And that's the thing. I think the top 3 in both EU and NA have just done too well to make that like a really viable option. Like
Yes.
you swap players between Rogue, GT, even and YouTube and Ignorance, like you're not
Yeah.
really gaining or losing that much at that
the
point.
one
Like
team that could benefit a lot from it is GT, because Black's points are like nothing.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's crazy.
So, and you've got somebody like I believe Simp is the only person in the top 20 who's not on one of these teams in the top 4, and Simp would give like an extra 766 points.
wow.
And then, Oblivion's right there. Rogue players, 3 Rogue players have a lot of points.
Only
Barn,
3 of them
Oblivion,
now? Yeah.
Barn, Oblivion, and Simp are over like 75% of their team's points right now. So
Okay,
that's-
so there's absolutely the potential is there. Potential is
and
definitely
from what I
there.
understand, I don't think that roster is like locked in or anything. So you could, if you're
Okay.
trying to do your backdoor deals to go to Worlds, now's your time.
Okay.
I guess we can help you out, figure out who has the points.
Yeah, we can do the math for you and see what you need to.
Yeah,
you just swap it. Okay.
I'll be the mob accountant. Sure, you just gonna pay me.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, I think that's gonna bring us close to the end of our numbers discussion. But we did have some questions in chat earlier on about the metagame for May Finals. It was pretty interesting. We had a couple of new additions to the competitive circuit. We had Lapras and Chandelure being added to the game. Chandelure getting target banned away from Stockings all 4 games of the grand finals. Pretty wild. Alola Ninetales is a thing now. WonderChef, how you feeling about the new metagame that we're in right now?
I mean, I think from a viewer perspective, it is really sick to see. Also, I mean, we got so many weird picks from YouTube that worked, even though they weren't changed at all. So that made it feel like there was even more like available than usual. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really cool, but it continues to push me more towards maybe thinking like maybe more bans could be good. I don't know. I mean, obviously you let the players choose, but there's a lot of targets right now.
Oh yeah, I think 2 bans is almost mandatory. That actually brings me to a question, Lazadin. Would you be okay with the prospect of them adding more bans between regionals and
of course.
worlds? Okay, great.
I think that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I think changing the format slightly between regionals and worlds is totally fine. They're gonna change. They're gonna fucking patch the game anyway, right? Like, who cares?
That's true. Plus, like, Eastern regions play with
hopefully.
different bans than we do. Like,
Yeah.
they like, what is the old? They banned Zation and what was the old, and Blastoise. The Blastoise moveset ban they had banned, but other than that, they just kept running it. So interesting.
It's Esports Ninja's gonna still probably be in charge of World, so like I'm wondering if they're gonna swap that up. It's unfun for them too, right? If they play with different bands and then they go to Worlds and it's like what Esports Engine decided on this side of the world, right?
Right. Plus,
That
it's
would
not
suck.
Esports Engine making those decisions, but yeah.
Oh, it's not. It won't be. Okay.
I mean, it hasn't been.
Oh, it hasn't. Sorry.
It's like that's like a
super
TPCI.
removed from
That's a
all this.
TPCI thing.
Gotcha.
Esports Engine turns the camera on, right? Like that's their job. Make an attempt to make me and Chef look good. Super hard
Also,
job.
if I could just make a note, like historically, so there is, TPC, TPCI. TPCI has been in charge of Worlds regardless of where it's been before. So there have been in a lot of the other Pokemon games differences in rule sets between like the Asia regions, which is all run by TPC, and then the TPCI, which is like everywhere else. And it's the Worlds rule set always goes to what TPCI has been running, which is essentially UCS rules.
Right.
If we're looking at that analogy.
Yeah, I mean it's that's
Side note.
trading card game. I mean Eastern regions play best of one, like TPC regions play best of one in their card game, which is bonkers.
Best of one of the card game sounds like one of the worst fates known to man.
It is bad. It's really bad. Hey,
No,
some
you'd have to
jank
really-
wins those tournaments, so that's fun.
You have to be into that kind of stuff if you want to.
You really gotta
Yeah.
like that kind of thing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Last what was your side note you were saying?
What the hell is happening in the TPC regions right now? By the way, like I see, like they had to post an announcement that they had to like undo a bunch of the match results.
Oh, for
Unite,
VGC
even?
and
Like,
for VGC.
no, for Unite.
No, for Unite.
Like there's
What?
a bunch of stuff happening in Unite. Yeah,
Wait, actually,
yeah.
I had
just,
no idea
they
that happened
fucked
in
up
Unite.
some of the brackets. Yeah.
Leak.
Yeah, they
Here, you go.
on broadcast. I know that I was watching and like Jay-Kun made an announcement like, hey, we just want to apologize. There's been some miscalculation with like the groups results or group seating or something like that. And so I think they were already like mid broadcast when that happened. So
You know what
I
I
don't
bet
know the
it
exact
is?
details. I should ask Jay, but I don't know.
They do Swiss for their day one of their events.
Mm.
So I bet that's what messed up. I bet their pairings were off. So then some teams were getting an easier schedule than they should have. Other teams were having a harder schedule. I bet that's what it, because like how do you mess up a top 8 bracket? Like that doesn't happen. So I think it was probably their Swiss that messed up. That's tough. I always thought Swiss was an interesting idea to try in Unite. However, like North America is probably the only region outside of Japan with like the numbers to play it, but they still run it. Eastern regions, they run it in like India, which doesn't have very many entrants. So
I heard it was very cursed in India.
yeah, shocker. I mean, there's just not enough people to make Swiss interesting. I think. Yeah, they did the resistance math wrong. Interesting. That sucks. That's so annoying.
So you guys explain to me what does that mean?
So, okay, in Swiss, do you know what Swiss format? I'll explain it because I have some questions in chat.
Yeah.
Swiss format tournament is you get paired against a random opponent in turn 1, and then you compete. And then after round 1, everyone with the same record will play each other for round 2. So everyone who's 1-0 will play someone else who is 1-0, and everyone who's 0-1 will play someone who is 0-1. And then you continue on with that same strategy of playing someone else who has the same record or as close to as possible as the calculator can make it happen until you have a defined cut. And Swiss will normally go to top 8, and then it will stop. Once you have the 8 teams that have made it through enough rounds of Swiss that we've determined that these are the top 8 teams, then we go to a double elimination bracket. Now, when you make a cut, though, you need to determine resistance. So if, like, let's say 2 players or 2 teams they're both at 5-0. Technically, one of those teams is stronger because you count your opponent's your opponent's strength, but your opponent's win percentage. So all 5 of my opponents together had like a 60% win rate, and all 5 of your opponents together had a 40% win rate. That means I place higher because I played the harder opponents technically on paper. And usually you also, in smaller tournaments, when they get smaller, you actually have to count your opponent's win percentage because low number Swiss just gets super nuts. Anyways,
so ultimately this just sounds like a lot more work and math.
It's Cloud Fiesta.
There's tournament apps that Battlefire runs it for you, but I think apparently they just calculated the opponent's win percentage wrong. Maybe probably what happens, teams or players got like a misreport, but that misreport probably got counted, and then like stuff like that happens all the time. But that's crazy that they've had to like revoke tournament results for it. That is wild. Yeah, things are going on for sure. I'm dumb. Stop. Okay, sorry. I won't talk about Swiss anymore. Doobsnack should be on here. He knows so much more about that kind of stuff because he casted TCG for a long time. I just played. I just show up to my pairing. Like, I don't know.
If you want to circle back to meta, I can help you. The poker PKU image is pretty solid. The NA meta.
Yeah.
This guy. Analyst for Woof Woof, congratulations! On
that's cool. I didn't know they got that.
Posts all this cool stuff. This is like amazing work. I wish I had this for all the things, but
the entire thread is really good too. But yeah, this is here. I'll pull it up. We've shown a lot of poker content on the stream before. So
it's a Unite stream. Why are you showing poker content? All right, Hoopa with a 31 pick is I think that just shows how good these like top 4 or 5 teams are with Hoopa, and it's so prioritized. I'm actually surprised. Well, the bans are probably not Hoopa for another reason, but you're probably banning these really strong attackers.
Mm-hmm. Spoiler, look at the thing that was picked 17 times the fucking 65% win rate.
Yeah, Lapras.
That's a strong Pokemon. That is a strong Pokemon. Hey, Eldegoss with a higher win rate than it and higher pick rate.
That's really cursed, just like its win rate. Yeah,
because people are playing it defender, and playing it defender tanks the win rate.
Yeah, that's a pretty good number,
I believe.
No, it's a really great list there. You see, honestly, Buzzwell with 58. That's just Fui knocking Rin out of the Rayquaza pit.
Oh my gosh, I was losing my mind when that happened. I was like, yo. Let's go.
Probably the best play of the tournament. Probably one of the better plays I've seen.
He did it a few times. I mean, not that he's specific one. Like other times were a little more preemptive, but that was like the clutch ice and vein smackdown I've seen. It was pretty sick.
Honestly, yeah, chat 38% win rate on Slowbro is not great.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is the tide finally coming in for Slowbro? Is the Slowbro reign of terror over?
I'm imagining a Slowbro running away from a tide.
See, Lazadin, I'm gonna need you to say yes next time so I can use it as thumbnail bait. Okay.
Slowbro literally dead.
Slowbro drowning? Question mark. Okay. Interesting. WonderChef, any thoughts on these on this graph that we're looking at right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's some wild win rates comparatively. I mean, I think maybe this is like, I mean, obviously it's weighted for not that many matches, but like, for example, like Delphox having like a 33% win rate, like I feel like it was way more important than that in a lot of the matches. Consistently, we see Urshifu be important, but then also get low win rates on the Joker graphics. But shouts to Joker, amazing with all these graphics. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see some just get a little bit lower. But again, I think it might have something to do with like some teams that ended up like having issues other than the Pokemon that they're playing.
Yeah, I mean it's always going to be performance based, right? But these metrics are really interesting to study. I think North America is a cool region because of how different a lot of the play styles are between these teams. I've always found that really fascinating. How do we feel about A9?
It's fine.
You're talking to a mage player. It feels like they just I don't know. If people were doing really good with it, there's a lot of burst. But are the other picks better? Like, is Mew maybe still better? I don't know. Is Chandelure better? I was
shocked about the lack of Mew that I was seeing out there.
Yeah,
I was like, this Pokemon should be getting drafted way
Well, the thing
more
is, right, like, the thing is, right, like, you can just put less effort into a pick that has, like, the same effectiveness, right? Like, why would I pick Mew?
No, for sure.
It's better.
I think people have also gotten really, really good. I saw a lot of really good A9 ults. I think being able to actually proc that ult, like, second damage tick where they're frozen,
the frozen
instead
tick,
of the Aurora Veil Dazzling Gleam build. I think the people are definitely... They were bursting people like crazy. I think I saw a lot of really good flash ults from people, like Otter. It might just be lower skill cap, similar results, and strong. Chaotic won a lot with it, though. It could be, I think he probably played it 10 times or
no, he was playing it consistently the whole tournament. Yeah, well, I'll definitely have to ask Chaotic about his thoughts on it specifically. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good call out. Now that you're actually using the freeze moves in tandem with your ult, it's pretty sick. Like that damage burst is actually crazy.
It's also like,
it's got a $40 skin.
True.
If your A9 casts 2 abilities and then dies, like, you actually probably got a kill off of that. And you're usually fine, I guess. Like, my A9 died, I don't know. Versus, like, if your Mew only gets, like, 2 abilities off and then dies, like, it's actually kind of doomed.
Also, there was this really cool moment. I can't remember. I was trying to remember who it was that I was actually playing it, but again, memory's terrible. Where we had the Mime pick and the A9 pick, and it was one of my favorite moments of the entire tournament where they were down at bottom Reggie, and they literally just walled out the other team and burned Reggie and got it before the walls went down. And I loved that moment. Was that EU?
Probably? It was probably Nouns. Yeah, like, I can only think of one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, who in NA picked Mime?
I'm sorry. We're talking about NA, I guess.
But that's great though.
That's
great about it's great about Ninetales too. Like, you're right. You can zone Avalanche zoning pretty good. Or whatever move it is.
Not shown on graph. 100% greedent win rate.
Oh, nice.
That is true.
That's a shout out to the homies for giving me some representation on the screen. I really like seeing.
If you don't dress up like Greedent at NAIC, I am going to riot. Sneaky.
I gotta try. I will definitely be bringing blueberries and belching, but I don't know about.
Okay, but the actual cosplay.
It's not even my fault, because if you look up Greedent's tail, it's gigantic. So I feel like I can't even do it justice, right?
True.
Anyway.
Okay, all right. I think that is a good as place as any to start calling the episode. Let's bring it down. Yeah, SneakySeal, I will give you a chance quickly to redeem yourself, but also to plug anything that you would like. Where can people find you? Social media, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, twitch.tv/TheSneakySeal. I'll be casting trying to do a Swiss, red zone type broadcast of the round robin, because there's going to be 16 teams. So, and broadcast is trying to do. Can you leak? Are we doing?
We'll do group stage, but it'll be like we'll do group stage, but it'll be like EU's was. So we'll miss games.
Yeah, are you missing like every game except for one from each group, or are the groups different times? Like how?
Yeah, they'll be staggered.
I believe they got an average of
staggered?
2 per group from EU.
Yes, we got 2 from each group, except for one group I believe we got 3 from. So
sure. Okay, so I'll try to watch whatever the mainstream is not watching. I will be watching. Cool. Potentially, if I can add 20 or people come into
if it's players
turn their spectating off too. I actually think we're gonna run to that again. Where it's regional finals, people are gonna disable spectating because it's more money's on the line. But we'll see.
Well, you got to start providing the money on your end, though.
I
start cash apping some players for that spectate,
GT. That spectate button. What would happen if it randomly turned off, and nobody noticed?
That's true. And nobody noticed. All right, Laz, so then anything that you would like to plug?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I'll be I've been planning a lot of stuff for Pride Month. I put out a tweet earlier hinting at a series of 4 miniature events, one of which is a lot less miniature than the other 3. So we're starting next week with the Overdunk podcast with myself, Jen, Psyche, and Breadbox. And then we have 3 things I haven't announced yet, one of which I'll be announcing on June 1st.
Announcement of an announcement?
Wow. Contracts.
I'm really good at those.
Well, you consistently do them. I will say that. Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, just, if you know artists in the Unite community, just tell them to look at my Twitter account on June 1st. That's all I'm going to say.
Cool. Awesome. I like that a lot. WonderChef, sell out, shout out. The stage is yours.
My only thing is, I mean, shout outs to everybody out there who's like doing any of the off stream, like technically non-official broadcast matches, like Sneaky, or I always shout out Kilo on stream because I'm a big, OCE fan. But I saw actually like a retweet, I think, by Laz and like somebody was asking for like, to make sure that everything was recorded. And it's true. Let me say, I could, this is my experience from being from Pokken. It was Sneaky. Okay. So I was looking at it when I was asleep. I look at Twitter when I'm asleep all the time. But somebody who comes from a game that wasn't around forever, trust me, you're going to want to keep these things like in history. These matches are important. You're going to have these players wanting to look back. You're going to have people be like, oh, do you remember when that happened in that moment? And like, if it's on broadcast and it didn't happen, it's just such a shame. It's just lost to time. So everybody get as many of those games in there as possible, and shout out to everybody who makes that possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree anymore. I mean, it's a big reason why Unite Mics exists. We try to get as much of that as we possibly can. Obviously, there's a lot of community members chipping in for that. And actually, look forward to some very cool historical Unite content coming out later. Probably off-season stuff for Unite Mics. That'll be fun. That being said, I already plugged it once, but the team YouTube interview will be happening. If you're watching this live, it'll be happening tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern on this channel, live on Twitch, which will be really fun. Next week on Tuesday, the same time, same place as normal Overdunk, it'll be Overdunk, which Lesson already talked about. And then the day after that, we are going to be doing our top 16 preview show for North America. And well, actually, it'll probably be mostly EU focused on that one because it'll also be the weekend of EU regionals that'll be closing out. Yeah. So we'll be mostly focusing on EU on that one. We'll probably discuss some of North America, talk about groups, but mostly talk about EU because they'll be picking their Worlds qualifications that weekend. And then we'll talk about NA in the future. Lots and lots of Overdunk stuff coming up very soon. I cannot wait, but you'll have to wait for it just a little bit longer or just until tomorrow. But until then, I'll see you all later. Goodbye.